Hello everyone and welcome to our first week of Portfolio Project 3. I apologize for the scheduling mix-up with our go-to sessions. This was certainly an oversight on my part. Uh, this is my first time teaching Portfolio Project 3 and I was still thinking of the classes, your alternate classes being on Thursdays. But obviously that's not the case. So I'm going to be sending out an announcement soon with an alternate meeting time for the later weeks of the course, and again I apologize for that. If you do have any questions or anything that you needed to discuss with me, please get in touch and I'll be happy to work with you however is needed. So we are right about halfway through the program and through the portfolio process. Actually, the timeline you see there is more true of the online program, but the classes are roughly the same. You may notice, if you recall what this looked like in your last portfolio project courses, that there's been some revisions. I originally had the audio or the video project planned for portfolio project 4, but after looking at the timeline, reviewing the timeline, I saw that you guys were actually prepared for this earlier than I originally considered, so I would prefer to go ahead and have you start working on some media projects at this point. So I've bumped up the timetable a little bit, which means Portfolio 4 is now more open-ended. What I'm leaning towards for that course is giving you an option to choose from a set of projects rather than having a single prescribed project, just to allow you more flexibility in exploring your own interests and exploring the needs of your portfolio subjects, and also covering a greater variety of the skills that are going to be covered by that point, because you're going to be going through a really diverse set of courses like new media journalism, transmedia storytelling, and public relations and so forth. So we want to make sure those are all included. So look for some changes coming up. So that means this week, or this month rather, you're going to be getting into some really heavy media creation tasks, and hopefully this will be pretty fun. This is the breakdown of how the course is going to play out over the 4 weeks. There are 2 projects this month, so this is a little bit of a divergence from the previous course setup where we really focused on a single project. We have really a single big project, which is the video asset creation, and then a secondary project which is smaller in scope, and that's the logo creation. So this is really drawing from the courses that you've taken most recently, namely graphic design, or graphic design for communication, I think is the full title, digital video and digital audio applications as well. So those 3 skill sets are going to be drawn upon throughout this month. We're going to have weekly class meetings. That's going to be changing from Wednesday, so what you see there won't be accurate from here out. Probably going to move those to Thursdays at 3 o'clock is probably going to be our new meeting time. This week you have 2 activities. One is the logo design kickoff, and that's really not so much an activity as simply a notification or a kind of a warning to you to go ahead and get started on that. And it gives some insight into what's going to be required and some considerations to include in your design. I'll get into the specifics of the assignment in a moment. The other activity this week is your video project brainstorming, and this is just coming up with a concept for your video, because we are really open-ended as far as the nature of the video that you create. The real emphasis from my perspective is on your video editing capabilities, but at the same time we want to keep the project focused on your portfolio subject and the needs of that particular subject and so on. So coming up with a good concept up front is pretty important. And just like with the previous portfolio project course you completed, the project's going to be done in increments, so it's not going to be a one-time effort to create this video and then be graded. It's going to be a series of activities that allow you to build up the video project bit by bit. So, looking ahead, the actual logo will be delivered next Thursday in week 2, so you have some time to work on that. It's not a huge graphic design task, but it is one I would like to see you put some time and effort and thought into. So I'll go ahead and get started on that now. That's why I really had that kickoff activity included in week 1. Once you brainstorm your video idea, which is basically giving me an idea of what kind of video you're going to create, then you'll start developing a storyboard, which is not a true storyboard. It's going to be more of an outline of the content, and again, not even the full content. This isn't a working script. It's just sort of you're blocking out what that video might look like, as far as the time codes and how long it's going to run. That's going to be your assignment for week 2, and then in week 3 you'll get into actually building the video, capturing any footage you need or still images, gathering resources like the music that you might use or other audio components, which might also include recording voiceover. So that's when you really start kicking it into gear, and then you're going to turn in a rough draft, which I believe is referred to as the assembly cut, right? And then once you get feedback on the assembly cut, then you'll turn in the fine cut, which is the polished and finalized version of your video, and that will become your new portfolio project showpiece. Alright, let's get into some specifics of the assignments. The first off is the logo design. This, as I said, is sort of a smaller scale project. There's a lot less, it's a lot less involved as far as the amount of labor involved. This is going to draw upon your skills from graphic design, also from aesthetics and any other courses that are related to visual media that might help inform your design decisions. This is also going to involve the style guide document that you created for Portfolio Project 2. So hopefully you have saved that because you're going to be revisiting it. And if you recall, you selected brand colors and various other factors related to the brand's visual identity. Now we're going to add the official logo to that style guide. And I said in the assignment that if it's the case that your subject already has a logo, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. But we're not going to worry about that. We're going to go ahead and create a new logo just because we can. But I also want you to demonstrate your graphic design knowledge and skills, since that's a recent course that you completed. The logo should be your own original design. It can draw inspiration from an existing logo. So if your subject has a logo, you can certainly take inspiration from that. And what I mean by that is the overall design motifs, shapes, or specific symbols that are used, maybe even a typeface. Draw from what is already there, because that's going to create consistency in the brand. Let's see. It must not include any copyrighted material. This is very important. So that would include things like photographs and images and clip art that is copyrighted or for non-commercial use only or something along those lines. You want to really be mindful of this. especially with things like music. That's where I probably see it the most. But well, I guess in this case that doesn't really apply. That would be more in line with your video project. But photographs, clip art, anything like that. Just make sure that it is free and legal to use if you are using outside material. As much as you can create on your own, the better. Look back at your style guide. You selected brand colors. Go ahead and incorporate those. It only makes sense to use the brand colors in the brand logo, as well as the brand typefaces. If you selected those, that might inform you. You're not bound to those typefaces because they were really geared towards the documents with things like headers and text, body text. But it's all about keeping that consistent look and feel. And you also want it to represent your subject. And, think about their persona, their look and feel and style, and that should be captured within the design of your logo, because again, it's all about staying consistent with the personality of that brand. Here are a couple examples. If you look ahead at the week 2 assignment where you'll be turning this in, you'll see that it also requires that you fill out the written components of the logo section in the style guide. This is from a classmate. You guys may know Kristen if you are on campus and go to the Friday Blend. She actually went ahead and filled this out even though it hadn't been assigned yet. She completed the logo section and it turned out pretty well. This is not a logo of her design. This is Yates Chiropractic's current official logo. And once she gets to the portfolio 3 class, I would have her replace this with one of her own making. But for now, it provides us with a really good example of what this will look like in the style guide. When you define logo usage, you'll talk about when it will be used, when it should not be used, any changes to the logo design that are acceptable, and what changes are unacceptable. So she says the above logo is the only approved logo for the Yates Chiropractic Associates. The logo is to be used on all documents that represent the company, whether digital or print. So you can see that there's some criteria for when this should be used, which is basically all the time. Acceptable modifications are not approved. Adherent to brand consistency. So a little bit awkward wording there, but basically saying that there are no alterations to the logo design are permitted. And specifying that if there are color restrictions, then it should be printed in black and white. So this is something that you'll be looking at. Something you'll need to include within your documents is the specific requirements on use of the brand logo. This is another example. This is another student who went ahead and filled out the logo section in advance and also did a pretty good job. Logo variations. You didn't see that on the last one because that had been removed because it wasn't needed. But variations are alternate designs for the logo. This might simply be differences in the colors of the logo or differences in the size or arrangement of the elements. Like in this case, he has 3 different lines of text making up the logo design. So there might be variations where those are different colors. Maybe the 1337 or elite is colored to stand out or something along those lines. So any kind of variations would be noted there, along with examples of those variations in graphical format. And he also goes into some very specifics instances of where the logo should be used and where it should not be used. I'm going to go ahead and add these examples to the assignment so you'll have them to refer to when you get to the point of turning in your logo design. The second and more significant in terms of scope project this month is the video asset creation that you'll be doing. This is a video related to your subject, so you want this to fulfill some specific need for that subject. And because the nature of your subject is wide open, I can't predict what its specific media needs will be, so you get to choose what kind of video you want to create. It could be a commercial or other type of marketing video, like a viral marketing, or even a transmedia component that ties into some kind of alternate reality game or something along those lines. It can be a public service announcement. If you are interested in journalism, you could make a journalistic report, a news report, or any other kind of investigative journalism piece, documentary films, music videos, or other types of short films. On the topic of music videos, make sure that the music is music that you hold the copyright for, or that you have permission from the copyright holder to use that music. This gets really tricky because you can't use copyrighted music in your projects. It's just not allowed because of the potential for copyright violation and legal action that might occur. That really applies for any type of video. You don't want to borrow any kind of audio or video clips for your work unless it falls under the idea of fair use, which is way beyond the scope of what I wanted to talk about today. So you get to choose what type of video you do, with the stipulation that it makes logical sense for the subject that you have chosen. So this week you are brainstorming a potential video idea. Because it is wide open to any of these type of video formats or any other that you can think of, I want to get an idea of what you're going to do. With that degree of freedom, I want to make sure that we still keep it on track and that what you're proposing is viable and makes sense for your subject. So you're going to post to the discussion boards this week describing the video asset that you have in mind, just describing what type of video is it, what is its purpose, how does it benefit your subject. The anticipated runtime, so this is the length of your video in minutes and seconds. I would definitely keep it under 5 minutes, and depending on what kind of video you choose. If you are going after developing a short film, then it's going to be a bit longer than if it was simply a commercial. The content of the video, I'm not asking for a script or a storyboard at this point, just simply an idea of what's going to go into this video. Does it require original footage? Does it require still images? Is there going to be introduction music or background music? Will you need voiceover recorded? And so forth. And describe any needed assets or list them out. And this is basically ties in with the content of the video. You would just sort of list out specific pieces that you would need. Voiceover clips on a particular topic, or if you would need to collect still photos, or if you're going to need to go shoot video, then that's what you would include under the needed assets portion. Okay, and once you get this your brainstorming posted, I'm going to take a look at it and again let you know if it's viable, if if I think it's within the realm of possibility and reasonable. If in case there are some that are not, then I might ask for you to choose a different type of asset. Okay, and that just about sums it up. Again, we're going to be working on this video over the next 4 weeks. I want you to go ahead and get started. Go ahead and give me, once you get my feedback on the brainstorming. There's really not a lot of time to waste. So again, let me know if you have any questions. If not, then I will hopefully talk to you all next week and be getting some feedback to you on your brainstorming ideas.